Hello, my name is Casey DuVall, and I will be the English 10 honors teacher along with Mr. Evans. This is my 11th year teaching, and this will be my third year here at Golden High School. Um, I love teaching 10th grade honors. It's one of the most fun classes that I've had a chance to teach in my many years of teaching. I love building on the great foundation that they've got from either their English 9 teachers or their ninth grade honors teachers. Um, it's a little bit before, some of the more advanced courses and more challenging courses of their 11th and 12th grade year. I just think it's a great time for kids to really expand and strengthen their skills and their reading and their thinking. And I really love kind of including so many great classic pieces of literature um, that we get to read and study. Um, I'd like to start by talking a little bit about where we'll be going throughout the course of at least the first semester. We'll begin with The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. I chose this for a number of reasons. Number one, it's a novella that is available as a PDF, so it'll give students time to get settled and not have to wait and get their book in the mail. So there's that accessibility portion. I also chose it because it's such a deep and challenging work of literature. Kafka is one of the all-time greatest writers in world history, and his book is rich with complex characters and conflicts and deep themes about the human experience, but also loaded with imagery and symbolism. The third reason I chose it was because I felt that it had some meaning and message that that will connect to the times that we're living in. Gregor, the main character, feels isolated, trapped at home, and kind of cut off from a society that doesn't truly understand him and that he has trouble communicating with. And so I feel that there's a lot within this book that's going to hopefully relate to some of the challenges that we're all facing in this unprecedented crisis in time. We'll move on from The Metamorphosis and jump into The Heart is a Lonely Hunter by Carson McCullers. That's a book that I taught last year that students really liked. As you can tell by the title, it again kind of connects to today by featuring a host of isolated characters. Some are isolated by their identity. There's a black doctor in the time of the segregated South who struggles to connect with people. There's someone whose politics don't really connect to the town that he lives in, who feels isolated. And then there's a young girl and a shop owner who also feel disconnected. So I'm hoping that book will kind of build on some of our literary study. It's a classic work of literature, but again, I feel like the content will also be relevant to where we're at today. Following that, this is something I haven't done in 10th grade honors before, but it's something that I wanted to add. We'll be doing a choice novel. They can choose from the list of books recommended by the AP Literature test makers. The reason why I like that list is because it gives a lot of great challenging literary works that students can choose from. The only restrictions will be I don't want it to be a book that we'll cover this year, and I don't want them to choose a book that might be covered if they take AP Literature next year. So I'm going to hope that they can choose a book that relates to something they want to read more about, maybe topics or themes that they're interested in, or maybe just a book whose title seems to capture their attention. When I taught AP Literature years ago, this was one of the more fun assignments that students had. And it ended up being sometimes their favorite book out of the year. And during this time, especially when there's so many questions about remote learning, I want students to be able to read and access a book that speaks to them and that they're going to have some choice and agency in selecting. So I can't tell you enough how important I think it will be during COVID and so much remote learning, to give students a time to crack a book that's going to be emotionally and intellectually compelling for them to read outside without being stuck staring at a computer, something that they can get lost in. I know reading has been so important for me, and I know that being able to read the books that I am drawn to will be very important, or has been very important for me as well. So I'm hoping that they can choose, again, a book that they're going to love and they're going to be able to kind of escape from some of the remote learning aspects a little bit. After the choice novel study, there we'll do The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. We'll read that dystopian piece of literature as we're working on our own dystopian short stories. And then I'll finish the semester with Twelfth Night by William Shakespeare. I haven't taught Shakespeare in a while since I came to Golden, and I do miss it. I've been reading a lot of Shakespeare this summer, and Twelfth Night is just one of his best plays in terms of how it's written, but it's a comedy set during the holidays, and I've always found that students find something in that story and play to connect with. For how class will go, there will be some updates as we go through, but just to get started, I'll be primarily using Google Classroom. That's going to be where students will continue taking attendance like they did last year. It'll also be a place where I will post lesson plans for the week, so students can have kind of an understanding, as well as parents, of where that week will be going. I'm trying to have the lesson for the block day posted, what we'll be covering, as well as extensions and enrichments, or in some cases interventions for them to complete when they're asynchronous. And then it will also be clear on Friday what will be due, or what will be left to work on for students to again take some kind of control and pace themselves out as the week goes along. I will also be posting assignments and materials there so that they're all located in one place. And also, So Google Classroom will be where a lot of the material for the week and for the units will be posted. So again, students can have some kind of control over how they're pacing out their work and their workload. We will be using Zoom when we do our synchronous learning. So when we have class meetings during those block schedules while we're remote, and if we have future block periods, we'll be remote. That will be conducted via Zoom. So students will have some familiarity with that, as I think we all have developed. And I'm also hopefully be using that for Zoom breakout meetings. I put the question mark there because there is some concerns about the bandwidth and the compatibility that will work with so many students using that. But I've had other coworkers who found Zoom breakout meetings to be really useful. So I'm hoping to have that set up as well. Those would be our two main focuses for remote learning as we get started. Lastly, if you want to contact me, especially this is for students, if you have questions, you need some clarifications, please post those on the Google Classroom comment thread. That will allow classmates who maybe have the same question, or who maybe haven't thought of that question but are kind of in a similar area of confusion, to kind of see my responses and answers, so that hopefully any issues can be clarified there. If the students are having trouble with a particular task in relation to what they're trying to do on an assignment, if they leave a comment under the Google assignment, I will be able to see that pretty easily and get back to them. I would like to try to keep all kind of questions regarding academics kind of controlled on the Google Classroom. If it's a more personal issue or concern that students are having, they can email me. And parents, same for you. If you need to get in contact with me, email will always be the best way to access and get in contact with me. However, if students or parents need a little bit more discussion, I will be more than happy to have a telephone call, especially during quarantine. I've been finding that phone calls are, for me, a little bit easier than online discussion. So I will always keep that phone call available. I know this year is going to be incredibly challenging, and I know it's going to be a huge adjustment for me and for them and for parents. So we're going to work hard, and I hope that everyone's excited to get started. And again, just knowing that English Honors is a challenging course, but that allows us to really engage in I think one of the best activities we can do when we're trapped and stuck somewhere and maybe feeling a little anxious. Open a good book, and then I'm hoping for some great discussions to come out of all that. I can't wait to meet many of you in person. I know I've known some of my students, but I really look forward to this year. And again, this is one of my favorite courses. So there's a lot to look forward to this year as we adjust, and I hope everyone's excited for that. Thank you so much for your time. And here's a kitten. Mwah.